Our guys scream. A $300,000 dowry? Hongi looked at the woman sitting across from him and almost laughed from anger. The blind date had barely started, yet she was already talking as if his whole life had been weighed and thrown away. $300,000 is too much, she said. My cousin got $880,000 last year. If you can't afford it, plenty of men can. Maybe you should reflect on whether you're not working hard enough. In the end, he could only get up and walk home alone. He was almost 40. Half his life had gone into a mortgage, a car loan, and a job that had never truly belonged to him. Back then, everyone had said civil engineering was a promising major. Everyone had said a 211 university degree would change his fate. He believed them. He studied hard, chose the right path, and stepped into society full of hope. Then, the real estate bubble burst. Jobs disappeared. Salaries froze. After more than 10 years of struggle, he still had debt on his back. Just when he thought things might slowly improve, he was laid off. Now, even a blind date could stand in front of him and use a dowry to humiliate his entire life. Was he really not working hard enough? No. In this era, choice mattered more than effort. One wrong decision could bury a man for half a lifetime. If he could do it again, he would never take that road. A sharp shout suddenly cut through the night. "Watch out!" Hongi raised his head. On the construction site beside the road, a huge iron pillar had slipped loose. It was falling straight toward him. For 1 second, the world became slow. His last thought was unwillingness. When warmth returned, Hongi heard a familiar voice beside him. "Hey, what are you daydreaming about? This is the library." Hongi opened his eyes. The wooden desk, the old shelves, the cheap notebook, the outdated phone in his hand. Everything looked unreal, yet every detail was painfully familiar. He stared at the phone screen until his heart almost stopped. May 20, 2008. He was back. Back to his college years. To prove it was not a dream, he grabbed Giri's help beside him hard enough to make him scream. "It hurts. Let go." Hongi's hand trembled. That meant this was real. He had really returned to 2008. Before he could fully recover, a cold female voice came from ahead. "Stop writing these things. Give up. I won't be with someone like you." Hongi looked over and saw Chole. In his first life, he had chased her for 3 years. He wrote letters, ran errands, waited outside classrooms, helped with whatever she asked, and treated her pride as if it were charm. What had he received in return? Contempt, ridicule, and the title of a poor toad who wanted to eat swan meat. Chusichi held his love letter like it was evidence of a crime. Hongi stood up and reached for it. "What are you doing?" she asked. "I changed my mind." He pulled the letter back and torn in parts. Chusichi froze. "I'm taking it back. I'm not interested anymore." The library quieted instantly. Guo Ziheng stared at him as if he had seen a ghost. The other students waited for Hongi to apologize, to explain, to continue begging. But Hongi only looked at Chole calmly. "You pursued me for 3 years, she said, her face burning. "Now you're pretending you don't care? That was my bad judgment. Why would I win you back? You're not good enough for me." The words fell like a slap. Chole's eyes widened. No one had ever humiliated her like that, especially not Hongi, the boy she believed would always circle around her. She wanted to shout, but the librarian scolded them for making noise. Hongi apologized politely and left. Outside, Guo Ziheng rushed after him, almost jumping with excitement. "Brother Hongi, that was too cool. I've wanted to say that for ages. She always treated you like a servant." Hongi looked at the bright summer sky, and the heaviness from his previous life finally loosened a little. "In this life," he said, "I have more important things to do." "Like what?" "Make money. Follow me properly, and I'll let you live well too." That evening, Hongi went home. The moment he saw his parents, his calm almost broke. His mother was carrying dishes from the kitchen. His father sat near the table, still pretending to be strict but clearly waiting for him. In his first life, Hongi had spent too much time away, too much time struggling, and too little time giving them a good life. Now they were alive, younger, and standing right in front of him. His eyes turned red. "Son, what happened?" his mother asked. "Who bullied you?" His father's expression also changed. Hongi forced a smile. "No one. I just missed you." His mother laughed and scolded him for being silly, but Hongi knew what this second chance meant. This time, he would not let them grow old worrying about money. This time, he would not wait until it was too late to be filial. At dinner, he tested the limits of his family's support. "Mom, Dad, I want to start a business. I need 5 million yuan." His mother nearly dropped her chopsticks. 5 million? Do I look like I have 5 million? Your father earns 3,000 a month. Are you trying to eat his belt too? His father was calmer. "What business needs that much?" Hongi told them the old town would soon be demolished. If he could buy several buildings before the news became public, the compensation would multiply the money several times. His father listened seriously, but the amount was impossible for their family. His mother dismissed the information as something he had seen in a dream and handed him $50 instead. Wash the dishes tonight. That is your startup fund. Hongi accepts his mother's words. While washing the dishes, he thinks about his situation. Even though he possesses knowledge of the future, without money and connections, he will still miss every major opportunity. Simply knowing what will happen is not enough. He must use that knowledge to become rich. The next day, Hongi is sitting in the school library, eating Lays and planning his future, when his eyes fall on Nancy. She is the beautiful heiress of an extremely wealthy family, but she is so cold and distant that no one dares to approach her. However, Hongi sees an opportunity in her. He thinks that if he can somehow become her friend, she might be able to help him with the money he needs for his business. He offers Nancy a packet of chips. To his surprise, she quietly begins eating them. Hongi sits beside her and says, "Now that you're eating my chips, we're friends from today onward, right?" Nancy eats as secretly as if she is committing a crime. Hongi does not flatter her or act nervous around her. He simply talks to her normally, and the two soon become friends. After a while, Nancy asks whether he needs anything. Hongi stays silent for a moment before explaining that he wants to start a small business but does not have enough money. Nancy immediately offers him $1,000. In Hongi's previous life, even his monthly salary was not that high, while for Nancy, it is nothing more than pocket money. But Hongi says that $1,000 will not be enough. Nancy looks a little disappointed. Hongi explains that he will now have to find a job, which means he may no longer be able to visit the library every day. The thought of losing her first real friend makes Nancy anxious. She promises to find another way to help him and then leaves. Hongi wastes no time and calls his best friend Hiri. With Hiri's help, he gets a food delivery job near an internet cafe and earns around $250 in a single day. While he is making deliveries, Chole sees him and mocks his financial condition. She says arrogantly, "Just wait. At tomorrow's school gathering, Hongi will come to me and apologize on his own." The next morning, Hongi returns to the library, where Nancy is already waiting for him. Without saying much, she hands him a golden card. Hongi stares at it. "Where did you get this?" Nancy replies innocently, "I took it from my father's card collection. He has so many that he won't even notice if one goes missing." The luxurious golden card makes Hongi's entire body tremble. Nervously, he asks, "How much money is inside it?" Nancy answers in the most casual voice possible, "Not much, only $2 million. Hongi nearly screams. He cannot believe his ears. Nancy then casually asks, "Do you need more? I can steal another card from my father." Hongi immediately stops her. He promises to return every dollar within 1 month. In his heart, he feels as if Nancy is a golden bird sent directly into his life. Nancy, however, has no interest in contracts or interest payments. She only asks whether Hongi can bring her more chips. Hongi smiles. "Of course, tomorrow I'll fill both your hands with chips." After Nancy leaves, Hongi takes Hiri to an old building downtown. He offers the elderly owner $600,000 for it. Hiri panics. "Where did you get this much money? Don't tell me you stole your family's savings." Hongi tells him not to worry. The building may look old, damp, and useless, but he knows the entire area will soon become part of a government development project. Once that happens, the owners will receive compensation several times higher than the current property value. The old owner is delighted to receive such a generous offer for his broken-down building and immediately signs the papers. Once they leave, Hiri says that their lunchbox business has great potential. He believes they should use the money to expand into a proper restaurant. Hongi gives him a little information about the upcoming government project. Hiri assumes Hongi has obtained some internal news, but Hongi explains that his goal is far bigger than simply growing one restaurant. Hiri then reminds him about the student gathering that evening. Hongi remembers Ethan, a rich and spoiled student who humiliated both him and Hiri at the same gathering in his previous life. Hongi has no intention of going there, only to suffer the same insult again. Hiri adds that Chole will also be present and has been telling everyone that Hongi will come to apologize to her. Hongi does not care. That evening, almost every student attends the gathering. Ethan keeps ordering expensive drinks and loudly announces that he will pay the entire bill. He uses every opportunity to show off his wealth. After some time, he asks, "Where is that loser Hongi?" One student replies that Hongi is selling restaurant lunches near an internet cafe and is probably too ashamed to attend the gathering. Chole pretends not to care, but she is increasingly irritated. The boy who always followed her has suddenly lost interest, and to her, that feels like a personal insult. At that moment, one of Chole's friends rushes inside and shouts, "Hongi didn't come because he's outside spending time with Nancy." Everyone is shocked. They immediately go outside and secretly watch the two. Hongi is calmly playing with Nancy on a wooden horse ride in a public park. Nancy sits behind him, eating chips without a single worry. Seeing them so close leaves Chole and the others speechless. The students try to convince themselves that Hongi and Nancy must have met by coincidence. One boy laughs. Why would a girl like Nancy ever date someone as poor as Hongi? Hiri answers that Hongi recently bought a building for $600,000. Hongi may look ordinary, but he is clearly capable of making his own decisions. A few days later, the government officially announces the development project. In exchange for his property, Hongi receives a villa, another property, and a massive compensation package. His investment multiplies within days. That same night, Hongi returns Nancy's money. They sit beside a swimming pool, and under the soft lights, even Hongi becomes momentarily lost in Nancy's beauty. When he gives the card back, Nancy asks sadly, "Now that you've returned the money, does that mean we won't be friends anymore?" Hongi smiles. Money and friendship are completely different things. We'll always be friends. Happiness instantly returns to Nancy's face. Hongi tells her this is only the beginning. One day, he will create an enormous business empire. Instead of investing all his profit in one place, he spreads it across several businesses, a soup restaurant, a beauty salon, and other small ventures. One of them is the Star Moon Night Bar. Hongi remembers that an international football tournament is about to begin. During the tournament, every bar and restaurant in the city will be packed. So he leases the Star Moon Night Bar for 1 week at a cost of $30,000 and prepares it for live screenings. On the first night of the tournament, nearly every bar and restaurant is full. Chole and her friends cannot find a place to watch the match. Hiri tells them, "Hongi rented the Star Moon Night Bar. We can watch it there." Chole refuses to believe him. Hiri then reveals that Hongi has invested in several businesses over the past few days. Chole finally begins to understand that Hongi is becoming successful at an incredible speed. She tries calling him, but the call does not connect. Then she discovers that Hongi has blocked her number. Her face falls in front of everyone. Inside the Star Moon Night Bar, Hongi is sitting with Nancy when a staff member informs him that some people outside are claiming to be his friends. Hongi goes out and meets Hiri first. Hiri explains that they came to watch the World Cup match because there is no space anywhere else in the city. The group enters the bar and is amazed by its vibrant lights and luxurious interior. Hongi tells the staff that Hiri is his best friend, so no one who came with him should be charged. Everyone quietly sits on the sofas. Then they notice Nancy sitting nearby. Chole immediately feels jealous. They tell themselves that Nancy's presence must be a coincidence and that she cannot have any special relationship with Hongi. But then Hongi walks over and sits directly beside her. Nancy takes a chip from her packet and feeds it to Hongi with her own hand. A blonde-haired boy in the group loses his composure. What is happening here? I've never even had the courage to make eye contact with Nancy, and he's sitting this close to her. Everyone slowly realizes that perhaps Chole never dumped Hongi. Maybe Hongi was the one who left Chole behind. Unable to watch any longer, Chole gets up angrily and leaves. The next day, Hongi is standing at a bus station when Hiri runs toward him. He happily announces that he has been admitted to the Science and Technology branch of Linchoni University. In his previous life, Hongi had planned to study civil engineering. This time, however, he chooses the finance department. His future will be built on business and money management, so finance is the more useful path. Chole arrives and accuses Hongi of ignoring her calls and breaking his old promise. She insists that he applied to Linchoni University only because she was going there. Hongi calmly replies, "You're mistaken. Nancy applied to this university, so that is why I'm going there." He then shows her that he has blocked her number. He does not want her to create any misunderstanding between him and Nancy. Chole stands there like a statue. Gritting her teeth, she says, "Hongi, I won't let you go." Hongi ignores her and leaves with Hiri. When they reach the university, Hiri insists on visiting a nearby tea shop because he hopes to meet some girls. Hongi refuses at first, but as Hiri's best friend, he eventually gives in. Inside the tea shop, a group of students begins discussing relationships. Hiri jokes that Hongi is still single. A red-haired girl sitting nearby introduces herself. Her name is Hina, and she belongs to the law department. After some time, the bill arrives. 10 students ordered drinks costing $10 each, making the total $100. However, the shop has an offer where 1 drink is free when 10 are ordered, so they only need to pay $90. The new waitress refuses to apply the discount. Hongi calmly points to the student offer printed on a poster. The owner apologizes and explains that it is the waitress's first day, so she did not know about it. Hongi does not create an issue. He simply pays the entire bill for everyone. Hina is impressed by how maturely he handles the situation without embarrassing or pressuring the new employee. After leaving the tea shop, Hiri stays near his own department. Hongi boards a bus and meets Hina again. Since her department is on the same route, they sit together and talk. During their conversation, Hina asks for his Instagram. Hongi gives it to her without hesitation and jokes that this is the first time he has added a girl. Hina smiles and says it is also the first time she has approached a boy herself. The scene then shifts to Hongi's dormitory. His 3 roommates are Zhao, Gojitaru, and Saoren. The large and muscular Gojitaru proudly says that his family supplies construction materials. He even tells the others that, after graduation, they can join his family business if they want. While Hongi arranges his bed and belongings, Goji continues showing off his family's money, connections, and status. He proudly displays a new mobile phone that cost his father $1,200. At that moment, Hongi pulls out an extremely expensive and advanced laptop. For that era, such a device is rare. Seeing his spotlight disappear, Goji quickly changes the subject. "You two are single, right? I've dated before. If you want, I can become your love guru." The 2 boys immediately sit in front of him with notebooks. Meanwhile, Hongi looks at his phone and wonders whether adding Hina was the right decision. It almost makes him feel as if he is two-timing. A message from Hina arrives. She says she has finished settling into her dorm and asks what Hongi is doing. At the same moment, Nancy messages him. She says she is alone and bored in her dorm and asks whether he can come meet her. Hongi clenches his teeth and thinks, "How am I supposed to resist when you ask me like that?" He immediately agrees and prepares to leave. The roommates try to stop him, saying that Goji's dating knowledge is extremely important and that he will regret missing it. Hongi casually replies, "It's fine. A girl is calling me right now, so I have to go." All 3 freeze in shock. They cannot believe Hongi has already attracted a girl on his very first day at university. Goji secretly grows angry, believing Hongi is deliberately stealing his spotlight and challenging his authority. The other 2 whisper that the real expert in their room is clearly Hongi and that Goji's advice is outdated anyway. Hongi meets Nancy on the university field and asks about her first day. Nancy says her roommates are keeping their distance and barely speak to her. Hongi replies, "Anyone would be frightened if you walked around with so many bodyguards. Even now, 8 or 10 people are following us." Nancy explains that she does not like it either, but her mother is terrified that someone might bully her. That is why she arranged so much security. Nancy worriedly asks, "Do you think my roommates will bully me? What if they lock me in the bathroom like people do in those stories?" Hongi reassures her that not everyone is evil. He says sharing snacks is the easiest way to become friends. They go to a store and buy plenty of snacks. While picking out items, Hongi comes very close to Nancy and her face turns red. Hongi notices it, but assumes she is simply feeling hot because the shop has no air conditioning. After they leave, Hongi tells Nancy about his future plans. The internet and website market will soon grow rapidly. The .com boom has not yet begun, which means he has a chance to enter early. Because of his knowledge of the future, Hongi knows websites will become extremely popular. He plans to begin with a website business, then enter e-commerce and take advantage of every early opportunity. Nancy does not fully understand his explanation, but she smiles and says, "I didn't understand much, but I'll always support you." That night, Goji suddenly punches the dorm room door and says, "Hongi, come with me. I need to speak to you alone." On the rooftop, Hongi warns him, "Don't start a fight. We live in the same room. If we fight, it will destroy our unity." But Goji suddenly drops to his knees and begins crying. "You steal every moment from me. Whenever I try to do something, all the attention goes to you." Hongi immediately tells him to stand. No man should kneel before another over something so small. It is a matter of self-respect. Goji cries, "You take my spotlight without even trying. Just give me one chance to prove myself in front of everyone." He explains that tomorrow is their first class, and he wants to show off in front of the whole class. He asks Hongi to help him. Hongi remembers that at this age, he was also insecure and arrogant. These things may look childish now, but they are often what drive young students. He helps Goji stand and says, "Fine, I'll help you tomorrow." The next day, the 4 roommates enter their first class. Everyone is nervous about meeting new people, especially girls. Hongi picks up Goji's phone and loudly praises its $1,200 price, high-level camera, and flagship features. Goji proudly explains that his parents gave it to him so he could stay connected with his family. Hongi acts amazed. A phone this expensive? If I owned it, I wouldn't be able to sleep because I'd constantly worry about protecting it. You're incredible. The other students begin talking about Goji's wealthy family, but most of the girls find the show-off fake and irritating. By reading their expressions, Hongi realizes that instead of helping Goji, he may have destroyed his chances. With this attitude, Goji might remain single for the next 4 years. At that moment, several girls walk through the corridor with Nancy behind them. The moment she sees Hongi, she smiles. Many boys are instantly mesmerized by her smile. Hongi smiles back and talks to her casually. Nancy's friends notice him. Since they already know Nancy's background is extraordinary, they assume that any boy she speaks to so comfortably must also come from a powerful family. Besides, they find Hongi handsome. After class, Hongi and his roommates visit a small restaurant near campus. Goji treats everyone and repeatedly thanks Hongi for helping him stand out in class. Soon, however, Goji returns to his usual behavior and starts rating the girls in their class according to their hair, faces, and figures. Hongi receives a message from Hina asking whether there is a good restaurant nearby. He sends her his current location and says she can join them with her friends. Goji asks Hongi about his dating plans. Hongi says he currently wants to focus only on studying and making money. Goji assumes he lacks confidence or is afraid of rejection. A little later, Hina calls to say she has arrived. The roommates see the attractive red-haired girl standing outside and immediately become excited. As Hongi looks toward her, Goji says, "That girl is far too high level. She won't even look at you, so stop dreaming." Hongi teases him. There's nothing wrong with dreaming. Without dreams, how can anything become real? Everyone laughs. Hina enters the restaurant and walks directly toward their table. All 3 roommates quickly fix their hair and clothes, but Hina sits beside Hongi. Their faces become priceless. They cannot believe such an attractive girl already knows him. Hongi awkwardly introduces her and explains that she belongs to the law department. The boys ask Hina how she met Hongi and who asked for the other person's contact first. Hina directly answers, "I asked Hongi for his Instagram." Now they understand that although Hongi looks ordinary and relaxed, he knows exactly how to handle social situations. Hongi asks, "You said you were coming with your classmates. Where are they?" Hina suddenly remembers, "I forgot them outside." "Wait, I'll bring them." The moment she leaves, the 3 roommates jump up and grab Hongi. "How do you keep meeting these girls? Did you use magic on them? How can someone like you be a roommate of 3 single bachelors?" Hongi struggles to escape. "Let go of me. I'm completely innocent." Just then, the staff arrives with the food. Hina returns with 2 roommates, and the boys instantly release Hongi and sit down as if nothing happened. One of the girls with Hina is Chole. The moment Hongi sees her, he knows his peaceful lunch is over. Everyone sits down. Chole keeps staring at Hongi while he pretends not to notice and continues eating. The girl wearing glasses asks Hina which boy at the table she likes most. Hina quickly replies, "None of them." Her friend laughs. "You changed your clothes 5 times before coming here. You clearly like someone." Hina glances at Hongi beside her and softly says, "Hongi is quite good. He feels special and charming." Then Hongi says, "Eat before your food gets cold." Even that small concern is too much for Chole. She suddenly stands. "Hongi, what is the meaning of all this? Why are you putting on this act in front of me?" Everyone at the table is shocked to learn that Hongi and Chole already know each other. Goji feels as if his mind is breaking. He cannot understand how every attractive girl somehow knows Hongi. Hongi calmly says, "I didn't know you were Hina's roommate. I never invited you here. This is only a coincidence." Instead of arguing, he stands and says, "I'm done eating. I'm leaving." As he walks away, Chole shouts, "You promised you would stay with me for your entire life and love only me." Everyone awkwardly covers their faces. They're wondering whether Hongi's past is far more colorful than they imagined. Hongi gives no answer and leaves the restaurant. Several girls outside see the beautiful Chole chasing after him and are stunned. 2 of them secretly follow Hongi and Chole to discover their relationship. Chole blocks Hongi's path. "What is missing in me? Why can't you see me? Why are you treating me like a stranger?" For Hongi, the answer is simple. Chole was the one who ended their relationship. In his previous life, she used his efforts for 7 years and then chose another man. He has no reason to return to her. But Chole continues repeating that Hongi promised never to leave her. More people begin noticing the scene, and some even take pictures. Hongi says, "Please don't create a scene, let me go." Hina comes outside and apologizes, saying she never expected such a situation. Chole misunderstands her intentions and shouts, "What kind of friend are you? How can you target my boyfriend? Aren't you ashamed?" The girl with glasses steps forward to control Chole. Chole's blood pressure rises, and she suddenly loses consciousness. Her roommate apologizes to everyone and carries her away. Hina apologizes to Hongi again. Hongi says none of this is her fault. Hina hesitantly asks, "If I invite you for lunch or dinner next time, will you come? Just the two of us?" Hongi agrees, and they leave. That same night, the scene shifts to a dark room where a blue-haired fourth-year engineering student named Liza is working on a website. She says, "Your idea is good, and I can build the website. But what guarantee do we have that people will click on it?" Hongi replies that they need a strong hook to attract traffic. Fill the front page with pictures of attractive girls. Once people begin visiting, we'll slowly add the real content. Liza blushes and refuses. She claims to be innocent and says she cannot work on something like that. Hongi stands, "No problem. I plan to pay $5,000 for the project, but if you're not interested, I'll find someone else." The moment he displays the $5,000 card, Liza snatches it from his hand. With complete confidence, she says, "I love this kind of work. Honestly, I've always wanted to do it." However, she admits that she has no expertise in finding those pictures or creating the content. Hongi will have to arrange that part while she handles the technical development. Hongi laughs. "I never knew your standards were this flexible." 1 week later, Hongi sits with a group of literature students and rejects their childish stories. "We're writing for adults. The content needs to be interesting enough to keep people on the website." His harsh criticism brings tears to the writer's eyes. Then, a blue-haired student named Renjin enters. He is the vice leader of the literature department. Renjin begins quoting famous poets and writers, claiming that true literature should be difficult to understand at first and should slowly become clear in the reader's mind over time. Hongi places a bundle of money in front of him. "Those grand speeches won't put food on the table or create a good life. I need content that attracts people to the website." Renjin asks for an example. Hongi takes out a story. It is slightly adult-rated, though not completely obscene. Still, calling it high literary art would be difficult. Renjin angrily tears it apart. "Literature is art. It should never be reduced to this." He declares that a man with self-respect cannot be purchased with money and tells Hongi to keep his cash. But that same night, Renjin opens Hongi's door, walks inside, sits on a chair, and quietly says, "I have a good story." Hongi stares at him. "What happened to those grand speeches from this morning? Where are Tolstoy and your literary principles now?" Renjin explains, "I had to protect my image in front of the department. The truth is, I love writing stories like this. I've already prepared some." His story follows a wife who cheats on her husband and leaves with another man. Years later, the husband returns as a wealthy man. Having learned of her betrayal, he refuses to accept her again, while she and her boyfriend are left drowning in regret. Hongi finds the story extremely engaging. It is a goldmine for his website. "I want more stories exactly like this." Renjin becomes emotional. "No one has ever understood my talent. Everyone called my writing creepy, but you are the first person who likes it." Hongi writes him a check for $20,000. "That is your salary for an entire year. From now on, you will continuously write stories for me." Soon, many other literature students join Hongi's project, and the website begins growing rapidly. A month later, university military training is underway. After training, Goji once again gives Hongi relationship advice, saying he needs to choose a good partner, even though Goji himself is still single. Hongi jokingly asks, "Do you see any good girl around here?" Goji points toward a beautiful girl standing nearby. It is Nancy. Hongi casually says hello. The moment Nancy sees him, she smiles and runs over to talk. Goji feels his heart collapse. He cannot understand why every beautiful girl at the university knows Hongi and seems interested in him. He quietly leaves the two alone. Nancy says her roommates saw Hongi and are demanding a party because they believe he is her boyfriend. Can you give them a treat? Then she immediately adds, "If it causes any trouble, you don't have to." She also asks, "You like sitting beside swimming pools, right? We can meet there. I remember that when I visited your home, you were staring at me very carefully." Hongi immediately begins coughing. That evening, he treats Nancy and her roommates to food and drinks. The red-haired roommate says, "Hongi, you're a strange friend. You haven't visited Nancy's dorm even once." Another girl teases him. "Nancy talks about you all day. As punishment, you need to drink 2 extra glasses." Then they reveal that Nancy even refuses to watch movies with them because she worries Hongi might feel bad. Nancy becomes so embarrassed that it looks as if steam could rise from her head. Watching her, Hongi remembers that in his previous life, Nancy never attended Linchona University. His life was completely lonely. If rebirth has given him anything truly special, it is Nancy. Nancy feeds him a little food with her own hand. Hongi quietly eats it while her roommates exchange knowing smiles. Later, the roommates deliberately leave Hongi and Nancy alone, claiming they have urgent work. The two walk through a park and sit on a bench. Hongi apologizes for not visiting her dorm and for leaving her alone. Nancy places her hand on his. "It's okay," Hongi promises. "No matter how busy I become in the future, I will never forget you." A quiet moment passes between them. Then Nancy hugs him and remains close to him. While Hongi and Nancy were sitting on a park bench, they heard strange sounds coming from the nearby bushes. When they went to check, they found Goji kissing a girl passionately. Hongi was stunned. He had always believed Goji would remain single throughout college, but it seemed he had finally found someone. Feeling awkward, Nancy looked at Hongi and said softly, "I've never kissed a boy before, but I want to kiss you." Hongi stopped her. "We're still just friends, and friends don't do that." Nancy looked slightly annoyed, but accepted his answer. Without disturbing Goji, they quietly left. After all, it was his personal matter. The next morning, Renjin and Lisa are wondering why Hongi has not arrived at the office when he finally enters with Nancy. Both of them are stunned by Nancy's beauty. The group heads out to print promotional papers and purchase equipment for the website. Internet infrastructure is still weak, so many tasks must be handled manually. While walking under the hot sun, Hongi regrets not arranging a vehicle. There is not even a bus on that route. Nancy sends a short message. Within minutes, an extremely luxurious car arrives. An elderly man steps out and greets Nancy and Hongi respectfully. He informs them that Nancy's mother is willing to build Hongi a large office near the university. He can even choose how many floors he wants. At the printing factory, Renjin requests a student discount for 10,000 promotional copies. The manager refuses. "We don't negotiate prices. Whether you are students or businessmen makes no difference. You must pay the full $20,000. Then Hongi and Nancy pass the doorway. Nancy hands her juice to the elderly driver. The factory manager sees the old man and freezes. That is Lao Ji-dong, the emperor of the underworld. What is he doing with these students? He asks Renjin and Lisa about him. Renjin casually replies, "He is our boss's driver." The manager nearly collapses. If an underworld emperor is merely someone's driver, then how powerful must the real boss be? Renjin says, "Fine. If you don't want to deal with us, we'll go somewhere else." The manager immediately stops them. "Wait, I'll give you the best and most affordable price in the entire city." He knows he cannot risk offending such people. Meanwhile, Lao Ji-dong watches the happy Nancy beside Hongi and thinks that Nancy's mother was correct. Nancy never smiled this freely before. If an ordinary young man can make her happy, then that alone makes him important. After finishing their work, everyone returns to campus in the limousine. At the university, a handsome pink-haired student named Feng Lu is showing off an expensive watch worth around $3,000. The orange-haired girl points at the watch and mocks Goji's $1,200 phone. This is what real wealth looks like. Feng Lu also takes the chance to insult Goji and the others. Then the limousine stops in front of them. Even Feng Lu is stunned. The window lowers and Hongi calls from inside. It's already lunchtime. Are we eating or not? Goji almost cries with relief. "Brother Hongi, you're finally here. Please help us." He opens the limousine door and complains that Feng Lu has been bullying them. Hongi immediately understands the situation. He shakes Feng Lu's hand and examines the watch. "Oh, this is an old Bolex model. My mother gave me the same one on my 6th birthday, but I thought it looked outdated, so I gave it to my driver." Feng Lu's face falls. Hongi gestures toward the limousine. "I only use this car casually. By the way, which car do you own?" Feng Lu has no answer, while Goji looks completely satisfied. But instead of continuing to humiliate him, Hongi places a hand on Feng Lu's shoulder. "We are all sons of the same country. We should not create distance between people because of money." He continues, "Showing off does not make someone great. True greatness comes from remaining humble and respecting others." The girls who had considered Hongi ordinary and low class suddenly find him extremely handsome and impressive. The orange-haired girl decides she must find a chance to get close to him. As Hongi prepares to leave, she asks, "Will you have dinner with me at the cafeteria tonight, just the two of us?" Hongi refuses, saying he has important work. Feng Lu offers him a place in the student council and says Hongi could soon become a branch president. Since it is Feng Lu's final year, he believes Hongi would be a perfect successor. Hongi declines. He has no interest in wasting time on unnecessary responsibilities. He leaves in the limousine. Feng Lu shouts after him, "If you ever need anything, ask me. I will definitely help." A few days later, several senior students from the arts and literature departments surround Hongi on the field. They are actually discussing future content for the website. Renjin has become the project's greatest goldmine. His stories are the most popular, so Hongi gives him the monthly Top Writer award. Renjin excitedly announces the title of his next story. My lover is getting married, but to someone else. Everyone immediately loves the idea. From outside the window, a heavy-set girl watches the entire scene. Hongi tells Liza to distribute a share of the month's profit among all the employees so they will remain motivated and work harder. Everyone applauds. Then the heavy-set girl storms inside and shouts, "What is happening here? You people have turned the entire literature department into a joke." Renjin quietly tells Hongi that she is Cinda, the leader of the Literature Society. Cinda says, "Money cannot buy everything." These low-level stories are destroying the standards of our department. Hongi calmly replies, "A creator should produce what the audience wants. We are not making anything illegal. These are simply entertaining and engaging stories." Cinda warns every student that anyone who continues working with Hongi will be removed from the Literature Society. Renjin explains the real danger. Graduation credits, scholarships, and many university facilities depend on recommendations from official societies, especially for fourth-year students. The writers lower their heads. Hongi pays well, but they cannot risk losing their scholarships and academic futures for a job that may not be permanent. One after another, they apologize to Hongi and leave. Renjin places his final unfinished story in Hongi's hands and follows them. Hongi does not stop anyone. He understands that they have no choice and that he needs time to think. 3 days pass. Liza reports that the website's users are becoming frustrated. They want the next chapters, but all new content has stopped. If we don't act soon, we'll lose the traffic and loyal audience we worked so hard to build. Hongi realizes Cinda struck the weakest point in his entire system. Then he stands. If official societies are this powerful, we'll create our own society. After that, no one will be able to stop our writers. The next morning, Hongi and Liza take their documents to the Student Society registration office. A blonde-haired receptionist looks at them casually. Another student trying to create a society just to collect credits and scholarships. She reads the application and dismisses it. Only a website? Everyone is creating websites these days. We cannot approve an official society for something this ordinary. Liza is about to argue, but Hongi stops her. Our website already has more than 150,000 users. The receptionist thinks he is joking. Ambition is fine, but you should at least use realistic numbers. At that time, 150,000 users is an enormous figure for a university website. She points to a thick pile of applications. Some students want to build electric cars, while others want to work on drones. In her opinion, a simple website cannot compete with such projects. Hongi calmly says, "I have no interest in the other applications. I've shown you what I needed to show. The decision is yours." Then he leaves with Liza. A senior professor enters the office later and asks about the day's new projects. He picks up Hongi's file and asks, "Someone is still working on a website project." The receptionist laughs. "That boy claims his website receives more than 100,000 visitors every day. I thought he was joking." The professor finds it interesting and asks for the website details. At first, the slightly adult-style poster makes him angry. But once he begins reading the stories, he becomes completely absorbed. Morning turns to evening, and evening turns to night. When the professor finally checks the time, he is stunned. An entire day has disappeared without him noticing. He immediately calls the receptionist. This young man has created something excellent. Approve it as an A-star society. Allocate one of its largest working rooms and provide $100,000 in startup funding. The professor believes websites will become an enormous market in the future, and the university must support this project. That night, Hongi and Goji are returning to the dorm after dinner when the blonde-haired receptionist runs toward them. "Your project has been accepted. It has been ranked among the university's best startup projects." Hongi teases her. "This morning, you thought my website was a joke." She smiles awkwardly. "I was blind and failed to recognize your talent. Please forgive me. If you ever need help in the future, come to me." The next morning, she takes him to one of the university's largest society rooms. It contains many computers, coffee machines, a refrigerator, storage cabinets, and enough space for dozens of people to work comfortably. Hongi smiles. "Leader of the Literature Society, now I'll show you where you truly stand." 2 days later, Cinda arrives at the Literature Society office and finds it completely empty except for one girl. "Where is everyone?" the girl nervously replies. "They all went back to work with Hongi." Cinda looks at her. "At least you stayed. You must truly love literature." The girl points to her broken leg. I didn't stay because of literature. I can't walk, so I'm sitting here to avoid getting injured again in a crowd. Cinda's face collapses. She slams open the door of Hongi's new office. Hongi, come outside. She threatens the writers, saying they will lose their credits and scholarships if they work with him. Hongi calmly steps forward. My website is now an official S-level project under the entrepreneurship department, and I have established my own society. He can now provide the writers with more academic credits and scholarships than the Literature Society. On top of that, everyone receives a monthly salary, performance bonuses, and extra payment for additional work. Hongi asks Cinda, what can you offer them to compete with me? Do you honestly believe you are capable of matching this? Cinda grabs Renjin's arm and tries to drag him away, but he refuses. Please don't come here again. Our new leader Hongi may become upset and I don't want to offend him. Cinda leaves in humiliation. Once she is gone, Hongi addresses everyone. Now that we're together again, we must push the website's traffic to its maximum potential. His next goal is to attract such a massive audience that major investors will pay to advertise on the website. To increase traffic, Hongi announces an online university beauty contest. Students will vote through the website, and the contestant with the most votes will become Miss Beauty. The news spreads rapidly across the campus. Girls begin registering, while students debate who deserves their votes. The next day, Renjin brings Hongi the final candidate list. Hongi sees Nancy's name. Remove Nancy from the contest. Renjin is confused, but she's incredibly beautiful. She would easily finish in the top 3. Hongi replies, that is exactly the problem. She is so beautiful that everyone will assume she will win. The competition will lose its excitement. The real reason is different. Nancy's family background is too powerful, and Hongi does not want to expose her identity for such a small event. The next day in class, the orange-haired girl openly promotes herself and asks everyone to vote for her. Goji explains that Hina and Chole from the law department are the favorites, but a new green-haired beauty named Jianji is also a strong competitor. Jianji joined the university 3 months late because she avoided military training. Goji hands Hongi a note and asks him to pass it forward. It is actually a love letter. Hongi sends it from one student to another until it reaches Jianji. After reading it, Jianji looks around. Goji winks at her. She hates the gesture, tears the letter apart, and throws it away. Goji's heart breaks. Later, the orange-haired girl says, I don't care about Hongi's money. He is honest and kind. I genuinely like him. Jianji overhears the conversation and mistakenly assumes the love letter came from Hongi rather than Goji. She says coldly, sending love letters to girls during class is shameless behavior. After college, Liza excitedly reports that the beauty contest has pushed the website toward 500,000 users. They have also received their first brand promotion offer. A company is willing to pay $20,000 for an advertisement. Hongi reads the documents and sets them aside. That amount is too low. The others remind him that it is their first deal, but Hongi explains, we won't reject it, we'll negotiate. Our website is worth several times more. Just watch. The next day, they visit an herbal milkshake shop near the university. The shop is far from the main entrance, and customers dislike the strange taste of its herbal ingredients. Almost no one visits. Hongi smiles at the empty shop. This is exactly what we need. He asks the owner whether anyone has offered to buy it. The owner sadly replies, no. Things are so bad that I haven't paid rent for 3 months. Hongi asks how much he wants for the shop, including all equipment and raw materials. The owner says he will accept any offer above $15,000. Hongi immediately offers $30,000 and purchases the shop. Liza is angry. We only received a promotion offer, and you spent $30,000 on a dead shop. Isn't that too much? Hongi explains, people still don't understand the real value of websites. They have no idea how much business this traffic can generate. His plan is to tell nearby businesses that one shop has already offered $8,000 for advertising. Once others hear about the demand, they will bid higher. Since the milkshake shop now belongs to Hongi, even an investigation will not reveal that the offer was manufactured. Liza asks who will manage the shop. Hongi replies, don't worry, I'm going to give it to someone. Later, he hands the shop documents to Nancy. From today onward, this shop belongs to you. You can sell whatever milkshakes and drinks you like. Nancy is overjoyed. The move solves 2 problems. Nancy's popularity will attract customers to the shop, while the shop's supposed $8,000 offer will raise the website's advertising rates. Hongi meets the businessman who originally offered $2,000. He explains that a milkshake shop has offered $8,000 and that the website has not accepted it yet. Afraid of losing the advertising slot, the businessman raises his offer to $10,000. Hongi immediately finalizes the agreement. Soon, posters appear across the campus announcing that the beauty contest winner will receive a $10,000 cash prize. The enormous reward shocks everyone. No one imagined that a university student could earn so much through a website. The contest's success reaches Cinda. Once she confirms that the website belongs to Hongi, she decides to destroy his reputation. She uploads a misleading video to the college forum that makes it look as if Hongi was caught two-timing two beautiful girls. The video becomes a campus sensation. Everyone begins judging Hongi's character. Nancy's roommates show her the video and angrily claim Hongi is cheating, but Nancy trusts Hongi more than she trusts herself. This is fake. Hongi would never do that. Her roommates call the video evidence, but Nancy replies, "He recently gave me a very special gift. He doesn't even look at anyone other than me." She takes them to the beautifully renovated milkshake shop. When they discover that Hongi gifted the entire shop to Nancy, they are impressed again. They begin dreaming about the day they might find a caring and wealthy partner of their own. Meanwhile, Liza and Renjin ask Hongi how they should respond to the rumor. Hongi orders his people to join the online discussions and increase the argument and engagement. More debate means more users, more traffic, and higher advertising rates. He also launches paid badges and emojis. Users can purchase them and send them to their favorite contestants to increase their points. Liza is stunned. "We can earn even more from this than from sponsorships." Hongi simply smiles. In the future, he has seen live streaming platforms use the same model, where viewers spend money to support creators. He's introducing the system years ahead of its time. Students begin competing to push their favorite contestants ahead. Cao Ren even announces that he will survive on instant noodles for the entire month and spend all his remaining money on his favorite contestant. Walking behind them, Hongi thinks, "If they ever discover I created this system, they'll tear me apart alive." But business is business. Then the blonde-haired friend of the orange-haired girl asks Hongi, "Will you have dinner with me tonight?" The orange-haired girl is shocked. Her best friend was supposed to help her approach Hongi, but now she is asking him out for herself. Hongi replies, "I won't go to dinner alone with someone." If it's a group dinner, that's different. Jeonji arrives and casually says she will join as well. At the group dinner, the boys arrive in overly stylish clothes, making the girls laugh at them. Hongi alone wears simple clothes and calmly drinks juice. He remembers that in his previous life, he also spent hours preparing whenever girls attended a party. This life is different. He will not waste time chasing anyone. When the food arrives, Jeonji looks at him coldly. "I heard you're very rich. Why don't you pay the room rent and the entire dinner bill tonight?" Hongi smiles. "This is a group dinner. I didn't invite everyone. We all agreed to come, so the bill should be divided among us." Jeonji says, "If you pay my bill, I'll follow you on Instagram and add you to my chat." Hongi refuses. "Why do you think your follow is so valuable that I should pay your bill just to receive it?" Even Goji is shocked. He had assumed Hongi attracted girls only through his face and money, but Hongi's attitude is completely different. Feeling humiliated, Jeonji stands. "I don't want to eat anything." Then she leaves. The next night, Jeonji sends Hongi a message apologizing for her behavior at dinner. Hongi sees the message but does not reply. He does not accept her follow request either. After waiting for a response, Jeonji becomes furious. How childish can this boy be? He is acting tough and hasn't even accepted my request. The orange-haired girl laughs and clears up the misunderstanding. The love letter that day did not come from Hongi. Goji wrote it. Hongi only helped pass it forward. Jeonji becomes embarrassed. "So Hongi has no interest in me?" The orange-haired girl replies, "Hongi is not easily impressed. The girl he likes is on a completely different level." At that moment, Nancy enters the room and washes a cup at the sink. Jeonji falls silent. Nancy is so beautiful that Jeonji questions her own appearance for the first time. After Nancy leaves, the orange-haired girl explains that she is the university's mysterious rich beauty, and she is Hongi's girlfriend. Tell me yourself, with someone that perfect beside him, why would Hongi look at anyone else? Jeonji feels deeply embarrassed. A few days later, the final round of the beauty contest arrives. A huge crowd gathers for the award ceremony. Hina, wearing a red dress, takes third place. A beautiful white-haired girl finishes second. Chole becomes the winner. The entire hall erupts in applause and cheers. Goji shouts Chole's name louder than anyone and proudly claims he gave her the most votes. Hongi sits outside the hall. From the noise, he understands that Chole has become Miss Beauty. Renjin knows their relationship is poor and asks whether Hongi has a problem with the result. Hongi calmly replies, "I wanted this contest to remain fair and honest. I don't care who wins or loses." The contest has already achieved his true objective. Website traffic has increased tenfold, crossing 1 million daily users, with visitors arriving from across the country. While receiving the award, Chole gives Hina a half-hearted apology for her previous behavior, then claims she has found a man better than Hongi. Hina replies that the apology came too late. She has already applied to change her department and dorm room, and she no longer wants to remain friends with Chole. Chole says, "Why are you going this far because of one boy? Hongi isn't that special." Hina looks at her. "It's strange. You're standing there after winning his competition, yet you're still insulting him." Chole is shocked. "How could this be Hongi's competition? Besides, I found someone better. Feng Lu." Hina laughs. "You don't know the truth. The website, the beauty contest, the promotions, and this entire event were all created by Hongi." She calls the stage host, who confirms that Hongi is their boss and that everything has been organized according to his instructions. The first place trophy slips from Chole's hand and shatters on the floor. She had been proudly celebrating a victory in a competition created by the same boy she repeatedly called poor and worthless. Later, Chole sits alone in her dorm. Hina's room change request has been approved, leaving only the roommate with glasses. The roommate tells Chole that rumors across campus claim Hongi earned hundreds of thousands of dollars from the beauty contest, in addition to brand promotions and advertising revenue. Chole is completely stunned. Hongi has become far more successful than she ever imagined. She begins crying. "Hongi, I want you back. No matter what happens, I will win you again." That same night, Hongi and Nancy watch a ghost movie together. During a frightening scene, Nancy tightly grabs his hand. Hongi reassures her, "It's only a fake story. You don't need to be afraid." Afterward, they end the night by watching a romantic movie together. In the future, Hongi expands the website and also launches a delivery system. By using every opportunity he remembers from the future, his name spreads across the entire country. Step by step, he builds a massive business empire and becomes a billionaire. In the end, he marries Nancy, and the two live a happy life together. And with that happy ending, the story comes to an end. I truly loved this story. Tell me in the comments how you felt about it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button. If you are new to the channel and enjoy listening to stories like this, subscribe as well. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay happy, stay safe. Thanks for watching.